Okay, I'm just gonna mute everyone.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. It's funny, people are muting themselves and unmuting and then unmuting. Okay, so let's do a little breath work first. I have, excuse me for 1 second. I don't usually have, there we go. The computer is usually not that high. Okay, I think that is a good angle. Yes. Oh, good girl. Okay, so let's start with some breath work. So one hand on the lower abdomen, other hand on top. Feel all four corners of your feet. So big toe, little toe, inner heel, outer heel, rooted down, and start to slow the breath down. So focusing on really allowing the belly to expand, inhaling through the nose, and nice slow exhale through the nose. And then let's take the hands to our waist, the chi belt. So right underneath where the rib cage ends, squeeze in a little bit. And then on the inhale, keep squeezing in so your breath has to work a little bit to try to push those hands out and away. So this is a reminder also that we don't just breathe frontwards, right? The breath expands laterally and into the back. So the whole circumference really of our abdomen. So keeping a little bit of resistance is a little bit more of a strengthening of the diaphragm breath. So it should be a little bit difficult. So keeping enough resistance that that breath really has to work. The diaphragm really has to work to expand. And then let the arms drop down. So we are going to do a fun one. This is called Monkey Washes Its Fruit. So we're going to have it's a clearing exercise. It's really good for the heart. So the palms are facing down towards the earth, and we're just going to shake like you're shaking the top of I don't know, a big Saint Bernard's head. So this is washing the fruit. So keep shaking. It's really great to create a little bit of agitation to help clear. So just think of any stuff that's been clinging on, exhaling it out. Keep shaking, keep shaking, and then drop the arms down. And then you're going to raise the hands so elbows are bent. The hands come up just to about collarbone, come up to your toes or the balls of your feet. So you're balanced. So this is a balancing exercise, right? And then very slowly, just turn and look over to the left. And then slowly inhale while you're still in the balls of your feet. Turn so you're facing forward. And then exhale, come all the way down to your heels. And we wash the fruit again. So creating a little bit of agitation, just think about pulling stuff that we kind of want to let go of in the heart space and the physical body. We're just washing it scrubbing it. And then the arms relax down. And again, the hands float up. So the back of the hands are towards one another, up to about collarbone, come up to the balls of your feet again. And then slowly turn and look to the right. And then slowly come back to the center. And then exhale, come all the way down. And then we'll wash the fruit. So there's a method to this madness, right? When we do things that are a little bit more challenging, that require focus, our mind's clear. We have to be in the present moment because we're focused on the task at hand. So this is a great exercise in shake. Obviously, it's a version of shaking away. And then we inhale slowly, float up. So it's a good balance exercise. And then when we turn slightly to the left, right, it requires focus. So our mind becomes very clear and in the moment. And then inhale back to the center. If you can, keep your balance. So still on the balls of your feet, and then turn slowly now to the right. And then inhale to the center. And then exhale, come down. I just want to see who's here because hello, everyone. I can't tell sometimes who's who because it says iPad. So we're doing monkey washes the fruit. So palms facing down, like you're giving a big, gigantic dog a nice head scratch. So releasing energy and tension around the heart space. Might feeling a little strange in the hands. And then the arms are relaxed. And then we inhale, the back of the hands are towards one another, not touching. Inhaling up to about shoulder height. Come up to the balls of your feet. Slowly, while you're still balancing, turn and look over to the left. If you fall back down, just come right back up. Inhale to the center. Slowly looking over to the right. Inhale back to the center and then down. So monkey washes the fruit. Really great. We'll do this one more time, actually, while I talk, right? To help release stagnant energy, especially in the heart space, kind of bringing energy and our attention into the moment, right? After we just kind of scrub and get all the gunk ready to be let go, the arms start to float up to shoulder height. So we come to the balls of the feet. So good for balance. And then we challenge ourselves, slowly turning and looking over to the left. And then inhale to the center. Keep that balance. Turn, look over to the right. Inhale to the center and down. So monkey washes the fruit. So we're going to do another clearing exercise. It's a version of the pump, but we're going to be using alternate hands. So what that means is, let's bring the left hand up. So the palm is facing front, and that bottom hand is extended down and back. So your palm is facing the back of the room. And then we're going to bend the knees, the arms come back down. Now the opposite hand comes up and the opposite hand is in back. So then we bend. And as you extend, press that bottom hand towards the back. So you're extending a little bit. And same thing with that front arm. You want to bring it back. So you're getting a little stretch. You're stretching that entire line of energy. Bend the knees, the hands come back down, and then the opposite hand comes up. And then we start to build a little bit of momentum. So it's still a bend of the knees as the arms come down, and straighten the knees as the arms extend. And then we start to get a little bit of a pumping action through the knees. And then inhale and exhale. Really great to get some heat pumping through the body, and it's really good for shoulders. So if anyone, not naming names, has had any recent shoulder surgeries. If this doesn't feel right, obviously don't do it. But a little bit of a shoulder stretch combined with opening up the chest, the heart center, and working with opposites, right and left, really good for the brain. I'll turn to the side so you can see. Again, this is the last day of spring. Tomorrow's the summer solstice. So we're going to be doing a lot of heart opening, fire promoting, not too promoting flows today, and then start to slow down. Right? The heart in Chinese medicine, the fire element obviously is associated with the heart. So circulation, but also joy, connection with others, and finding those moments each day of joy. Whatever is going on, coming back to the present moment. Our minds are, for biological reasons, always sort of looking for the negative, and that's more for, it's part of our survival instincts. So it's kind of reminding ourselves in each moment there is a positive and negative, whatever that is, and sort of training our attention to recognize the positives, right? And bring those up. Not to say negatives, we need both. It's life. It's how we exist in this. It's a dualistic world that we live in. And if we didn't have the bad, we wouldn't have the good. So it's how do we have a good relationship to both? And then coming back to the present moment and cultivating that joy every day. On that note, let's go into knocking on the door of life. So moving from the hips and the waist, let the arms be nice and relaxed, right? So this movement, if I wasn't, it's really just a slight rotation of the hips and the waist, and the arms are like little Raggedy Ann dolls. And then you just build up enough momentum that you knock across the lower abdomen and the lower back. And just starting to awaken energy in the power center, the lower dantian, the lower back, the door of life. So we start with breath. We do a little activation and warming up and starting to help spread that chi. Come up just below the collarbone. And then all the way to the top of the shoulders. And then come back down below the collarbone. And then down to the waist. And then start to unwind. So, in ode to all of the deer that's up here, so many deer, they've all spawned and they're all frolicking around. I thought we go into another shoulder and hip opening activating exercise called deer running. So it's part of the 5 animal frolics. So let's step forward with your left foot so that your feet are staggered. And then we'll make little deer hooves with our fingers. So the fingers touch the thumbs. And then shift the weight to that front foot. And as we do, I'm going to bring the opposite hand forward. So if your left knee is forward, your right hand comes forward and up. And then bring that arm back as you shift the weight to the back foot. And the opposite hand comes up. So there's a shifting of the weight forward and then a shifting of the weight back as you start to windmill the shoulders. So again, the movement's really coming from shifting the weight and a slight rotation of the hips, right? Just think about the connection of the shoulder to the hips, the elbow to the knee, and the wrist to the ankles. We're just opening up the chest, great again for the shoulders. And then we're getting a little bit of rotation and oiling of the joints of the hips, the knees, the lower body. So you can go slow, feeling that nice full rotation of the shoulders, shifting the weight from the front foot to the back foot. And then let's come to the center, bring that back foot forward. Now step back with the opposite foot. Shift the weight to the front foot. The opposite hand comes forward. And then shift the weight to the back foot and the opposite hand comes up. So we shift forward with the right knee, left arm comes up and around. Shift the weight to the back knee, the right arm comes up and around. So part of QiGong is moving all of the joints in all of the ways the joints can and should move, right? We now know that our bodies don't necessarily age at the same rate as our minds and the physical body. We keep it nice and supple, right? Then we'll be less prone to falling, right? Less prone to breaking bones. So we're keeping these joints nice and oiled. Okay, now come to the center. You might feel your heart pumping a little bit. Excellent. That was really good, not just for opening the shoulders, but for getting pumping through the heart. And let's go into a wider stance now. Right, they now know if as we get older, if we don't move, that's when things that can accelerate. Age can accelerate when we stop moving. You put a 20-year-old, who something happens and they're, say, bedridden, they're going to have all of these, bodily issues because they're not moving. So it's just a matter of how can we move through all of these decades of our life, maintaining health, maintaining vibrancy and longevity, and movement is crucial. So let's take our hands and place them right at the hip crease. So your thumbs are sort of towards the back of your hip. The fingers are right in that inguinal groove. And then you can be in a less of a squat, or you can come a little bit deeper. And what we're going to do is slightly rotate the hips. So the right hip comes forward and the right shoulder comes forward. Keep your head looking forward. And then inhale to the center, and then a slight rotation of the hip as the shoulder moves forward. And then we're going to start picking up a little bit of momentum here. So you should feel a little opening in the hips. The movement's coming from the hips. Just pretend that your shoulder and your hips are one. And as the hip comes forward, the shoulder comes forward. And then you can pick up a little bit of speed if you want to. So you should feel a little pumping, a little heaping generated, opening of the hips. This is an area that gets tight, so tight on most of us because we're sitting for long periods of time. So getting some movement and mobility into the front of the hips and into the shoulders. And then slow down, rise up, inhale the arms down, around and up. And let's just bring the heart rate back down for a moment. Nice and slow inhale. And exhale. And one more time. Inhale. And we're going to do that one more time. This is a really good one for this entire area. So again, so your thumbs, you're kind of nestling your hands right into, if you make an L shape with your fingers and your thumb, right in that area. And then we're just going to move the right hip slightly forward as the right shoulder comes forward, and then the left and left. Your head should be forward. And just pumping the legs a little as the shoulder comes forward and back. And then so you can go slow if that feels good for you. If you're not in as much of a deep squat, that's fine. Just you want to continue to pump and move this area slightly forward and backward. Or you can build up a little bit of speed. This area is really tight. Like I can feel it kind of achy already. And then start to slow down. And then inhale, straighten the knees. Inhale the arms down, around, and up. And exhale, back down. And then inhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. Let's see where we are. Okay, let's bring the feet back to our normal stance. And let's shake everything out. You want to make the fire sound, the heart sound. It's that H-A-A-A sound. I was just on a podcast. Actually, Jamie, who sometimes is on here, has a podcast that she started within the past year. She has on doctors, naturopaths, all kinds of people, that someone that owns a mushroom farm, someone that um, all different kinds of people. And she had me on talking about TCM and 5 elements. And I'll send you the link if you'd like to listen to it. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I think there's one other, but it might be very interesting to you. But we did some of the healing sounds in the podcast. And then start to slow down. Okay, so now we're going to go into our flows. I just need to make sure I'm cognizant of the time. Give me 1 second. I'm just making sure I don't go over. Okay, so we're going to start with open the flow. So arms are nice and loose. We'll start with open the flow, and that will go into single armed open the flow into Kuan Yin paints the rainbow. So we'll start just the arms nice and loose. And then on the inhale, the arms float up. And then exhale, elbows drop first. The hands float down. Nice and relaxed. Inhale. So imagine that you are a little marionette, a little puppet with these strings attached to the top of our head and our limbs. And that there's this something above us. And as we inhale, they're pulling up those strings, right? So, as the marionette, they're kind of very floppy because, they're not alive. But as the strings of the puppeteer, they pull them up, right? There's a relaxation of those limbs. Just think about moving like something is actually pulling you gently up and then releasing you back down. right? So we're not resisting against that flow. We're allowing ourselves to be pulled up and anchored back down with ease. Allowing that current to move through, relaxing into it. Like you just stepped into this lazy river, and that river is just gently allowing and guiding you down with no resistance, just this effortlessness. And then we'll go into single armed, open the flow. So in the next inhale, you're just going to inhale your right arm all up to about shoulder height, and then exhale it back down. And now the left. Inhale and exhale. And again, the right. Inhale still maintaining that current or that feeling that something's sort of just floating through you. And these movements become softer and softer, more effortless. Now, in the next inhale, inhale that left arm up all the way, big circle so it comes behind you. And then bend the knees slightly as that arm comes back down towards the earth. Now your palm should be that hand should be facing forward. And then we inhale, straighten the knees. So now your right hand should be facing down and your left facing up, about shoulder height. Now turn that left hand so it faces down, and then exhale back down. And now inhale, the right arm only comes up all the way, big arc, big circle, bending down. And then inhales, we straighten. The right arm is facing up and left arm is down. Then turn. So both palms are down, and then exhale. And left, inhale. So Kuan Yin, inhale and exhale. Kuan Yin paints the rainbow. And what is a rainbow, right? It's a full spectrum of color. And colors are frequencies. So we're talking about the full spectrum, all of the frequencies, thinking about acknowledging and celebrating all of the different frequencies that make you you, that full spectrum. And the full spectrum of what makes other people them, the differences, maybe some similarities. And so Kuan Yin is the god or goddess or spirit of compassion, right? That is the emotion of the heart center, right? Having joy and having compassion for others, ourselves and others, and recognizing that we are all going through this existence through our own lens. We don't see things exactly as the person next to us. And so if we start recognizing that, and with 5 elements, right, we all have them inside us, and we have tendencies, one versus the other, to have a little bit more maybe metal, or a little bit more fire, or a little bit more earth. And that is reflective of how we each show up in the world. And so sometimes, even if there's frustration or conflict, we're able to show up and have conversations, recognizing that we are all part of this whole, but we have our own unique qualities and frequencies. And on the next exhalation, so it's inhale and then exhale to our chi ball for a moment, just feeling the energy between the hands, feeling the heart center open. And the next, since I'm upstate, and I was so excited because last night I was about to go to bed, and I looked outside and I saw some fireflies. And so I sat outside in the dark, but like seeing the entire uh, area of the grass just lit up with these little green lights, and how cool that is. So this is not about this next flow is not actually about dragonflies. It's fireflies. It's about dragonflies, but that's still that element of summer, and that quality that they just sort of like, they show up and then they go away. They show up and they go away. They touch down and then they come up and float. So the dragonfly kisses the pond is our next flow in an ode to the summer solstice. So what we're going to do is shift the weight. So it's a little bit of a balance flow as well. Shift the weight over to the left foot, and then come to just the tippity toes of your right foot. And as we do, bring your right hand forward and your left hand back. Now, and stretch those arms. So towards the front of the room and the back of the room. Now on the inhale, take that back hand, bring it all the way up. And as you do, see if you can just lift that front knee a little bit off of the ground. And then that back hand comes all the way forward. Now you're almost like in a little chi ball. And then touch those toes down again. And then lift back up, open up the hands, and come back to the center. Now your right hand is going to come on top, your left hand in the bottom. We'll go over this. This is more of a tricky one, but that's totally fine. We'll just do it over and over again. Shift the weight over to the right foot now. Okay, come to the toes of your left foot. Your left hand goes out to the front, your right stretching out back. Bring that back arm up. So basically you're making a big circle with that back arm coming forward. And as it comes up, come to balance on your right foot. And then as that arm comes forward towards your bottom hand, touch those toes down like a dragonfly, just touching the top of the water. And then inhale, back up, the knee comes up, and then back to the center. So shift the weight The arms extend, right arm in front. Inhale, make a big circle coming forward with that back hand. Toe touches down, and then back up and to the center. So when we do this, the bottom hand, as we shift the weight over, the bottom arm goes forward. And then we inhale, that back arm comes up, a big circle, coming to balance. And then just tap the toes down as that chi ball is right in front of you. And then inhale, open up the arms, come back to the center. And now your left hand is on top. Shift the weight over, extend the arms, so that bottom arm goes forward. Inhale, rise up. Tap the toes down. And then inhale, right hand on top. The left goes forward as we shift over to the right. Inhale, rise up. Just kissing those toes down to the ground. Come back up to the center. Left hand on top. So shift, extend the arms. Inhale, bring that back arm forward, rising up. Tap the toe down. Inhale, open the arms. And then we start smoothing it out a little bit. So just inhale, rise up, kiss the toes down. Inhale, rise back up, come to the center to our chi ball. And then inhale, rise up, exhale, tap the toes down. Inhale, like you're going in the reverse direction, and then come to the center. Shift the weight over, left arm in front. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, tap down. Open the arms and into the center. One more time to each side. Inhale, coming up. Tap those toes down. Inhale, back up, opening the arms. And exhale. And shifting over to the right. Inhale, rise up. Tap those toes down. Inhale. And exhale. Now let's have those hands side by side. Maybe we'll do this one next time as well, because sometimes it takes a little bit to get the coordination. There's balance, there's right, left, and then we're trying to relax into it. So it's a really great one because you're opening up the shoulders, you're opening up the heart, you're balancing, you're trying to move with slowly with control. So it's a really fantastic flow. And of course, it's about dragonflies. So what's not to love? And then let's go into centering. So drop the arms down, take the right arm out to the side, come all the way up on the inhale, and then exhale all the way down. And now the left, inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Just bringing everything into the center. And then let's bring the feet together as we bring the hands all the way down into the lower abdomen, one hand on top of the other. Just standing tall, feeling the feet pressing down and simultaneously the top of the head reaching up. Standing a little taller. Feeling the heart space maybe is a little more open. And hopefully you'll get to see some fireflies. I'm not really sure. Someone asked me if I've always called it fireflies, if it was lightning bugs, and I can't remember. Maybe my mom will be able to tell us when we're done. I call them fireflies now, but I think they're synonymous or interchangeable. Any bug people here? Okay, we're all set. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. And Mom, so what do we call it? Firefly? You're muted. What is it? You're muted.
Lightning bugs.
Lightning. So we did call them lightning bugs. I call them firefly. I don't know where I've adopted fireflies, but
Well, they were kind of interchangeable, but mostly it was lightning bugs. I saw some
okay.
last night too.
Oh, good. They're so fun, right? So are dragonflies. I love those. So, okay. Well, I hope you have a really great weekend,
I used
and
to
I
be
will.
afraid of dragonflies. I thought they were going to sew my
Sting
mouth.
you? Yeah.
Oh, sew your mouth together.
Oh, well, that's terrifying. No. Okay, everyone, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Love you.
Thank you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.